The Amp Theory Podcast with Peter Vazquez and Scott Kalnasy.
But first, a word from our sponsor.
Scott, what's wrong?
You ever want to be the best
The very best?
that no one ever was?
You must be talking about Crossroad.
To buy them is my real test. To train with them is my cause.
How far are you willing to go?
I'll travel across the land, searching far and wide.
I'll teach you to understand the power that's inside. Crossroad. If you're trying to build strength,
Or endurance.
then Crossroad's got a rope
For you.
So just visit www.crossrope.com/therealcfab.
That's the most important part. Crossrope.com/therealcfab.
If fitness is your destiny, then go get yourself a rope today.
Now let's start the show.
All right.
All right.
Episode
Awesome.
5.
The fifth.
Fifth.
The fifth.
I plead the fifth. The fifth. All right.
Well, how's your week been going, man?
Allergies been killing me.
Yeah?
I got that deep, sexy voice right now because I'm stopped up.
Yeah. Hey, you gotta keep it going, though.
I'm trying.
People are gonna see the inconsistencies.
I know.
Maybe I should change my voice, too.
It's too late now.
Damn. Oh, man. Well,
Oh, well.
Did you invest in Dogecoin?
I did not.
Fuck.
I tried to buy it through Coinbase, but Coinbase won't let me do it.
Fucking Coinbase.
I don't even know where to go.
I got some at Robinhood, but I didn't buy enough. I was scared. I didn't know how to do it.
Oh yeah, all that cryptocurrency stuff is crazy to me.
Yeah.
I used to mine for Ethereum, that way I could buy Bitcoin. But then I was like, man, like Ethereum is on the rise. I might as well just keep it.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at.
So if we ever stop doing this podcast, y'all know why.
We hit pay dirt.
Well, today's podcast is actually on something that's pretty relevant. It's about getting started, getting started on your goals. And definitely relevant for what we're doing, especially with what's going on right now. A lot of people, because of the excitement with cryptocurrency, are like, how the fuck do I do that? Like, a lot of people want to partake. Because I was asking a lot of people at work, I'm like, hey, you guys invested? And they're like, nah. And a lot of it was just from the fear of not knowing.
Yeah. It's like, do you want to retire?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's like, a lot of people, there's so much upside, right? It could be the next big thing. It could not.
It depends, really.
Yeah, we'll find out. But
There's only, don't play the game, you're not going to win.
for sure, you always have to put yourself in a position to win. That's another rule that I live by, guys. Go ahead and write that down.
Jonathan's already got you.
Yeah. But getting started is important, because if you don't start, you can't finish, right?
No, not at all.
No, that's one
In
of
the podcast, episode done.
Yeah, that's one of the rules of life. And in preparation for this podcast, one thing I wanted to do is because I've only known getting started in the things that I've started. I wanted to seeing if getting started, just starting anything, if there were some commonalities, right, in across different things like real estate, trading stocks, trading cryptocurrency, fitness, education, and so I just put getting started, and I read everything that I could, and I think we got a lot of juicy stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of juicy.
Ooh. For me, getting started, it pretty much only goes down to the things that I want to do.
Yeah.
The things that I didn't do before.
Yeah.
So when I decided that I wanted to start getting fit, I was like, how am I going to do that? Yeah, everybody who wants to get fit, they go to Google. Like, okay, what is the best exercise plan that I need to do in order to get fit? And a lot of times they're like, get ripped in 30 days.
Yeah.
You want that 6-pack? Get that in 6 weeks. 6 weeks, 6-packs is a fucking lie.
Hell yeah.
I'm going to tell you that right now.
I believe the 6-pack is the last thing, right, that you actually attain in your fitness journey.
When you start to lose weight, you start to see it in your face, you start to see it in your legs, you start to see it in your arms. That stomach is going to be the last place to go. Yeah. So unless you're already on your journey, that 6-week 6-pack thing isn't really going to work out for you.
Yeah. Hey, let me ask you something.
Uh-oh.
Is there anything better than the feeling and the excitement of getting started?
I can name a few things.
Get started. It's
the
fucking
ending.
best.
To complete, yeah.
Yeah.
Completion.
On your way to completion, on your way to finishing. The excitement of getting started. But getting started is phenomenal.
Yeah, because there's a lot of excitement that you have, like when you're ready to get started for whatever it is.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at like those like 30-day challenges, you're like, oh shit, in 30 days I could be this. But to do it, I gotta start. I'm gonna start on Monday. Monday always seems to be like the best time to start something for some reason.
Yeah.
You don't want to like look up something at 5 o'clock at night and be like, you know what? I think I'll do it now.
Yeah.
It's never right then.
Yeah,
and you always have to like mentally prepare yourself for it.
Yeah.
To give yourself an extra 2 days of fuckery before you're like, all right, grind time.
Yeah, Monday, I'm fucking changing my whole fucking life.
Waking up at 5 a.m., gonna eat right.
Yeah.
Gonna do some work, and then I'm gonna work out on my lunch break, and then I'm gonna work some more, and then I'm gonna work out after work.
Bro,
You could probably do that 1 or 2 days, and then you're like, afterwards.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie. Whenever I started seeing all this excitement about this Dogecoin and shit, I looked into it, and then I walked into the fucking kitchen. I was like, babe, I'm about to be a fucking millionaire. Bro, like, and those are like the endorphins, right? If it's fitness, you think about the body you're gonna have. If it's freaking, you're about to start doing real estate, you're like, babe, I'm about to sell all these houses. We're gonna have all this freaking money coming in.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of car you want? It's just, you start thinking of the end result.
Yeah.
And that excitement and that motivation. And bro, fucking YouTube, the videos on YouTube have started so many fucking millionaires, influencers, all of these things that people like. You watch these videos and you get so inspired. You're like, yeah, this is what I'm about to do with my life.
Yeah, I'm only speaking for somebody in this room, not me. But I get really excited, about, getting fit, flexing in the mirror, taking pictures, sending them to certain people, or in previous histories of their life, having a lot of money and being like, hey, how am I going to frivolously spend this?
I don't know who you're talking about, man. But I can only imagine.
Yeah. I don't know,
but I think his name rhymes with Blomathan.
Yeah,
Probably,
Blomathan.
right?
Yeah.
But so we get excited, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And then we start saying, all right, I'm gonna do this. But then time comes and we kind of stall out. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of reasons why we stall, right?
Yeah.
I guess we could dive into the first one. We just say fear, right?
Yes. When you start something new, you are excited, but in order to keep going, like you sometimes like you're like, oh, I hurt, like I don't want to hurt like this. Am I always gonna feel this pain, or am I always gonna feel like this weak? And you get fear, and you get that fear in you, and you kind of like, you know what? Maybe I'll coast.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll still go. Maybe I'll still read. Maybe I'll still work out. Yeah. But maybe I'm not going to try as hard because I don't want to step that far outside of my comfort zone.
Yeah. Well, and then also, some people don't even go that far. I mean, like the fear of failure has been one of the number one reasons why people don't even start anything. It's like, why would I start if I'm just going to fail?
Yeah.
And then the fear of embarrassment, right? Like, man, like there's so many more people that know more than me. I'm going to come in here, I'm going to look like a total noob and like fucking, they're going to know that I don't know how to do it. And it's going to look so embarrassing, And, And,
failure and embarrassment kind of go like hand in hand, right? Mm-hmm. Like if you're so worried about what other people think, like if you are new to the gym and you're a small person, like the big guy is going to look at you and be like, I was there once.
Yeah.
You just have to like get past, like you have to get out of your own way.
Yeah.
And once you get out of your own way, like it's your journey. Yeah. Nobody else going to help you on it. It's all you. You just have to be able to like understand that like, yeah, you're going to stumble. You're going to fall behind. You're going to not get to where you want to be yet. Uh-huh. But as long as you're persistent, last episode, you're going to get to where you want to go.
Yeah.
And in anything that you do, you're going to embarrass yourself just a little bit, like because you're trying.
Yeah. Yeah, and some of the fear of starting does get remedied with knowledge, right? Sometimes we're too scared to start because we don't know where to start.
Yeah.
But we live in the age of information where you don't have to go but your cell phone to just start gathering information. Like I'll kind of give an example of something new that I'm starting, which is I'm trying to freaking figure out this whole cryptocurrency thing. And, like the fear of losing money is big, right?
Especially since like last year, 2020, COVID, people losing their jobs.
Yeah.
It's even more of a gamble now than it was
for sure
back then, or a year or two ago.
Yeah. And so, like in certain things, especially when it comes to finances, there's always risk, right? Risk of losing money, risk of losing time, risk of losing time.
You gotta risk it to get the biscuit.
Yeah. I mean? But a lot of that stuff is remedied with more know-how, right?
Sure.
You look into it, you understand things a little bit better, and you can basically use that information to help you not feel like everything around you is like you're a balloon that's gonna pop,
But don't you feel like sometimes, and I'm not saying this is always the case, like if you're trying to get started and you're trying to learn more about what you're trying to step into, sometimes for me, this could just be me, I feel like anything and everything that you read is gonna be like either far on either side of the spectrum, like, yes, 100% do this. It's absolutely what you need to do if you want to be successful. To the other side, like, yeah, don't do it. It's not worth your time. Like, don't ever even try to attempt this. Like, it's never like a, hey, here's a positive and here's a negative. You have to understand this before you go in.
Yeah.
It's always, what I've seen is like, it's either one or the other.
Yeah.
That's what I've come across.
Well, everybody's always trying to sell you some bullshit, right? And usually the people that are always really, you can do this at the fastest time and do all this stuff. Like, if you hear fast and easy, that's your first sign that you should probably not listen to that person.
Absolutely.
Now if you hear like never and you can't, then that person's full of shit too, because they probably ain't done shit either.
They're like, the only thing I did to acknowledge this specific topic is I wrote this article saying don't do it. Yeah, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah,
so you should probably not do it.
Yeah. And there's always a middle ground, and so I always believe like just start with the foundation, the fundamentals, right?
Yeah.
No matter what it is, right? Like when I'm like looking into cryptocurrency, I'm like, what is it? Right? Like what is it? Step one, like what is this shit that I'm trying to get myself into, right?
Yeah.
When I started doing real estate investment, like I went to Nebraska to learn how to actually do the remodeling, right? Mm-hmm. And so I show up day one, and I have like some experience with tools, right? But I don't know how to build a house. I don't know what goes into a house. So I bought a book that shows how a house is built, because if I'm going to go in there and start manipulating things, like I need to know what I can and can't do. I don't need a freaking house falling on somebody because I did some shitty work, right? Yeah. And then that transitioned over to more like real estate investment, right? Where it came to wholesaling, and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, but I just started with the fundamentals, and I was like, okay, it took some of the fear away. So I'd be like, oh, okay, like I feel like I understand a little bit better. And then I made money, and so like you're always going to have that fear, but if you start with the fundamentals of just understanding what you're going to get yourself into, that kind of brings that fear down. Yeah,
if you ease into it, if you baby step into it, because I'm in property management myself. I used to be a property manager where I used to handle all the maintenance. Mm-hmm. And what I did before that, I used to work in a department that I would try to troubleshoot with people over the phone. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like, I would start with something small, like, oh, your disposal's not working. Step A, B, C, this is what you need to do. If that don't work, leaking, whatever, we're going to get you hooked up. Mm-hmm. And then from there, I just moved my way up to like bigger and bigger items. Mm-hmm. But it was intimidating at first. The first time I was ever called on a summer day and someone was like, my AC is out. It's 100 degrees in my house. This is your fault because you answered the phone. And I need your help right now. And you're just like, what? Yeah, man? Yeah. You don't know what to do. Yeah. So like with anything, building a foundation, starting small, because you don't want to like overwhelm yourself with like learning something so large, so out of like the normal scope of like what you would normally be doing.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't want to focus too much on this one giant thing when I can like learn 3 other minor things in the meantime.
Yeah.
And I can still pick that up.
Yeah. And on the flip side of that, right? Because, okay, so now I'm fear. There's people that do that naturally, right? Like I don't know something. So then they go into like building up the knowledge and figuring out how to do that. But then the reverse side is you have people who overdo it, right? Yeah. And then I don't know if you have heard before, like analysis paralysis, where it's like you look into something so much that you never feel like you're ready because there's always more to learn. And that's a different way of stalling, right? Is where I'm going to like continue to like, oh, well, I need to know every little thing about cryptocurrency. Like I need to know every little thing about stocks. I need to understand them fully. I need to know formulas. I need to do this. I need to do that. You know what? Like I need to know everything about real estate. I need to know the different, all types of real estate, when it's really like when you go into it, into almost everything, it's usually like a specialized thing, you know? So you're kind of using the whole knowledge thing to just keep prolonging the getting started part.
It's like people who are really smart, but they can't pass tests. They study. They know everything there is to know about it. But when it comes to like taking like that test to like actually finalize all the knowledge that they've consumed, they can't pass the test. And I've been in similar situations where I felt like the more that I tried to like understand something like deeply, instead of like, okay, boom, I know, everything that I need to know, XYZ, here we go. But then trying to break down XYZ more, like, well, I want to understand where this element of this specific question came from because I don't want to get anything wrong.
Yeah.
That's when you
you're saying
right.
You're saying not passing the test from second guessing yourself, right?
Yeah, I'm equating that to like analysis paralysis, right? Because you've done the work, you've done everything that you can do, but when it comes that like big moment of like, oh, now I need to act. What?
Yeah,
like you don't perform the way that you want to, even though you could help anybody.
Yeah. I learned that analysis paralysis in the sense of like real estate, right? So like when you're about to make a purchase of a home, right? You have to look up how much they're asking for, right? Now you also then have to compare what the house is like it around, like maybe a few miles around, how much they're going for, right? And then the comps, the how much they're like, what condition those houses were in to get those numbers, and then how much more you could have gotten, right? So what you do is that you can do that information without actually purchasing a home. So like what you have is these people that want to invest in real estate go in and then they're like, okay, I'm going to start doing comparables. And then all they do for the next few months is just comparables. It really is something you could spend probably a week on because there's an unlimited amount of comparables that you can do. And you don't then go to the next step because, again, you feel like you're not ready. But there's some things that you won't learn until you're on the job. Yeah. Another part of stalling is also like having too high of expectations.
Yeah, like right? It's like how we've talked before, like going 0 to 100 day one. You want to achieve greatness. That's perfectly fine. But you're not going to, it's like we were talking off camera, you're not going to become a bodybuilder like day one, week one. You're not even going to become like a bodybuilder in 3 months. I mean, you can get stronger. You can have like good results, but you're still, your expectations of being like on a magazine are going to be way too high starting day one. And sometimes I've put like my goals on a pedestal sometimes, and I've set the expectations so high that like the first misstep, I'm like, oh shit, like maybe I should have like aimed lower. Yeah. Instead of just shooting for the moon, thinking that I'll hit a star.
Yeah, for sure. I actually went through that. So this year marks the second year of me running like consistently throughout the whole year, right?
But I actually talk about it all the time. Jesus.
But 4 years ago, I actually started to try to run. I failed 4 years ago. And then 3 years ago, but it was exactly because of that. Like my ass heard Goggins, and I'm like, yup, like I'm about to run 100 miles in about a week, So I went out and, you know, basically every time that I would go out, I kept just trying to add and add and add and add, thinking, well, if I add a mile every time I run, that sounds like legit, you know, but I got there too quick. Like, I ran 10 miles after starting to run. Like, I think I was like maybe like a month in, you know, and my body just crashed. And then like I started noticing that I started making excuses, right? Because I had this expectation that I can go from 0 to 100 real quick, that like my body itself was, I was just making excuses. Oh, well, that fucking 10-mile run like really like fucking beat my ass. So I'm gonna take a week off. A week came by and I was like, another week. And I'm just so busy now, you know? And like, I started giving myself excuses and I started to stall.
Yeah, once you give yourself like one excuse, it's so easy to give yourself another, because it's how we've talked about before. You get comfortable. Like in your head, you're like, I've started down this journey, but you know, my body broke down. I just need to give it time. So I'm just going to sit on the couch. I'm going to watch TV.
Yeah.
Like it's so easy to fall into. And like, I'm guilty of that.
Yeah.
If there's any chance that I have to like give myself like a legit excuse, I'm like, oh, you know what? Like maybe I don't need to go to the gym tonight because I woke up this morning and I ran, and then on my lunch break I did like some body weight training, and then I walked around the block. Like, you know, maybe I don't do what I'm really supposed to do today.
Yeah.
Because I did all this other ancillary stuff that I didn't really need to do.
Yeah. And I think that there's a difference between, you know, when you earn something, right? When you're like, hey, you know what? I've been doing good. Like, I'm about to go out with my friends. We can eat out and shit, right?
Yeah.
And there's a difference between that and like not doing something because you don't want to do it. You know, and so you sometimes the mind tricks yourself, right? Sometimes you tell yourself, I deserve this, when really it's like, no, this is out of fear. Like you're not wanting to do it because not because you're tired, it's because you know how much it's gonna suck. Yeah. You know, now that could always be in the beginning, you know. We do that also with like studying, you know, like you know, I'm studying for my real estate exam, right? I told myself I'm gonna do it every day, you know, and I haven't been, you know, and I could tell you that it's been because of my laziness, you know. And so you know, being honest with yourself, the accountability, you know, you have to be accountable. And that's what gets me to do it more than not do it. Yeah. You know, but you have to be able to be honest with yourself.
Yeah, because only you have that ability to be brutally honest with yourself. As much as you want to lie to yourself, if you look at yourself in the mirror, like for any reason, you could wash your face and be like, man, I don't even recognize the person that I think I am. And it's because I'm not doing the things that I told myself I would do. I'm not acting on like my like goals. Like I'm not trying to do anything to like achieve them. And then you just kind of look at yourself and you're like, like who is this person? Yeah. And you know, that's when you start, like we've talked about like the accountability mirror, but that's like really like when you start over, you stall from like the fear, you set your expectations too high. Like what do you have to do? You just have to stop for a minute and reassess.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, and like all those times where, you know, you either stop doing what you're doing or you cheat, or you know you're not doing something because you shouldn't. These things hurt that belief and faith in yourself to do it. So a lot of the times when we stall, right, like we spoke last time about starting over, like losing weight, you know, January 1st. Yeah. Every January 1st, we have a thing that we're going to start. And a lot of the times that were usually last year's or 2 years before was the same thing you were going to try to do. Well, whenever you start failing yourself and you start hurting that belief and faith, that kind of is one of the reasons why then you stall to start over, because you're like hearing the same old shit again. It's like, oh, of course, yeah, I'm going to lose weight this time. Yeah. I'm going to get that real estate license. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do, okay, sure. And we like to play, right? But deep down inside, we know that we've been here before and what the result that we got. So you're not, after a while, after you beat a dead horse, right? You're just kind of like, okay, yeah, I'm going to start, you know, I'm going to start tomorrow. But you deep down inside you have no faith in yourself.
Yeah, and it's always like really sad too. Like if you were like January 1st, I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to get in shape. 2 weeks later, you fall down, you fail. And then the next year, you're like, you know what? I didn't really stick with it last year. I'm going to do it again. What happens? Boom. Selfie. Boom. Side profile.
Yeah.
Compare that to what it was last year, and it's exactly the same. You're like, fuck, I really need to make some changes.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like, lighting that fire under your ass is, like, what you need. Because you're the only one that's going to do it.
Yeah. 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 100%, man.
And sometimes, like, our ego gets in the way, too. Like, confidence is earned, but, like, your ego will tell you any old bullshit to make you not do what you want to do, really want to do.
Yeah.
It's the enemy.
Yeah. Yeah, bro. Man, if all the pitfalls that I've had, some way or the other always go back to just having an ego,
like, I know we make jokes about, like, having, like, huge egos, and it's funny to make fun of, like, that specific part of, like, our personalities, because honestly, like, I feel more humble doing this podcast and talking with you and having Jonathan help and having, like, this, like, what we have and actually putting out, like, our, like, our insecurities out on camera, on audio. People can listen. Yeah. Hopefully that, like, humanizes us a little bit, and someone can be like, hey, like, I know exactly what Scott's thinking, or, like, what he's talking about right there. Same thing with Peter. Like, I know exactly where, like, their mindset is coming from by, like, that comment that they made, and it really resonates with somebody.
Yeah. Yeah, man, because, like, to be honest, like, it is kind of tough to be here because, like, I guess it's been a little strategic, the fact that we've kind of started this podcast after we've accomplished certain things. But like, those 5-gallon jugs that you put on the cooler? Yeah. Yeah. That's how much weight I've lost. Like, that's how much I used to carry around, Yeah. But this is the lowest I've weighed, like, in a decade. So, like, in that decade, like, there's been a lot of starts and stops, along the way. There's been a lot of times that I've, like, lost faith in myself, lost belief. Like, after 10 years, after a decade of saying, hey, I'm going to get back into shape, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and then you don't do it. Like, bro, I didn't believe in myself. I had no faith in myself, and even now, in me doing this, like, I've been honest with starting the podcast and thinking, like, why should anybody really listen to me? Because I remember that the person that started and stopped, and that it's like, Peter, like, nobody should listen to you. Like, why would they listen to you if they knew who you really were, Yeah. And it's funny because you actually brought it up today, is that imposter syndrome, right? Like, that you start making some changes, you start doing something, and then you start thinking, like, whoa,
when am I going to be found out?
Yeah.
Because, so, kind of like how you're talking about your body changes, I was already starting to, like, do, like, my fitness stuff by myself. I was starting to run. And just since we've started, like, the podcast, like, I've lost, like, I lift weights. So I could tell that, like, I have a pump here, I've lost weight in certain areas. But in the places where I really want to lose it, I haven't really changed yet. But having said that, like, I've lost like 7 pounds just from the first episode. And that's, from working out more, running and walking more, and like eating better. Like, all these things that, like, I said that I was going to do and set out to do, they didn't all happen at the same time. And so it's fine. Like, as long as I'm making, like, better changes, that's all that matters to me. Because from episode 1, like I said, like, I wasn't where I wanted to be. But by episode 100, like, I'll be exactly where I want to be. Maybe, possibly, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But and that imposter syndrome, like, gets me, because we're having these conversations. We're talking about, like, using fitness as a vehicle. And some people are like, okay, yeah, I can tell you work out, blah, blah, blah. But for me, I'm like, I don't look the way I want to look.
Yeah. And people shouldn't feel bad that if they're going to start to do something, I mean, once you start building the knowledge, like, I mean, sometimes it's okay to be that person that you're going to be. Like, so it's okay to accept that, right? It's like, hey, you know what? Like, I'm going to be there, right? So like, I know I'm not that person now. That shouldn't stop me from continuing these goals. It's like, you're just basically seeing who you're going to be ahead of time, and then you're working towards that. Don't feel like an imposter just because you're not there yet. As long as you're consistently, like, pushing towards that, then it's gonna work.
Yeah, you have to trust the process, and that's pretty much like what I've been doing. Like I've been putting into like plan like everything that I want to do. I do have like that image in my head of who I want to be, and it's not just for like a fitness reason, but because like I have like underlying like issues, like I have heart problems and shit like that. I used to have asthma. Like I want to live to be old.
Yeah,
like
yeah, for sure.
I don't want to fucking die on y'all because of like a heart attack or something like in the next year or two or something like that, just because I'm predisposed to it. Like I got to take care of myself.
Yeah.
And that was like a harsh reality that I had to have. Like I've talked many times, like I was super mean to myself in the mirror, hurt my feelings, all that kind of shit. But it all started like, I'm sitting there eating Whataburger, eating my little chicken tendies with gravy and like feeling my belly rolls and stuff like that. Like it hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
I pretty much almost went immediately from like eating a bad meal to crying in the mirror. And I don't know how often that happens to people. I don't know if I'm just like soft or what, but I had to hurt my feelings.
Bro, I see a sad scene like when with like a milkshake, like just crying with your mouth, a little bit of like chicken on this side and a little bit of barbecue on this side.
That's almost accurate. Oh, Mr. 50 Nuggets over here.
Yeah, bro, but you're 100%, because for me, the slap in the face was when I was at the museum over there in Omaha, and they had a little they had this little thing where they check your heart rate, and I was like pre-hypertension.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Same thing to me. Like I went to Heart Attack Grill when they still had it here in Dallas, and they're like, right next to the bathroom, they have like the thing that checks your blood pressure, and I was like, I wonder. And I stuck my fat little arm in there, and I was like, I wonder what I'm going to be today. Boom, pre-hypertension. My shit was like off the charts. I was like, cool, I'm going to die.
Yeah, bro, that shit did scare the shit out of me. I mean, I got kids and shit, and I got a wife, and I think they want me to be around. I don't know.
I don't know. What's your insurance policy like?
I don't know, bro. She asked me to update it the other day. I don't know.
Shit.
Weird shit's been happening. The other day I woke up and I saw her like with a pillow like this. She said I looked uncomfortable, so she, but shit's been weird around the house lately. Ever since I updated that insurance policy.
Okay.
But no, man. I mean, like. I was scared, bro. That shit was a fucking slap in the face, man. And in my family, my dad had a stroke in his probably like in his 40s.
Yeah.
And he's relatively healthy, not with his habits, but he's just not a big guy. He's real slender.
Yeah.
And so I mean, having that in my genetics and being 33, and even a couple years ago when I was like 200, almost 250 pounds, it's like. It's like, man, that shit runs in my family, and I'm not doing anything to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, like, it was bad. It was like, what would I have for, like, I already talked about how my dad would, like, come and feed me, but it was, like, fast food.
I think he would, like,
sodas.
Put it in. He'd be like, here you go, Scott.
It's fast food, soda, fast food, soda, fast food, soda.
Yeah.
Red Bull, Red Bull, Red Bull.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck, I'm going to die. Like, my heart is going to explode.
Yeah.
And that's a scary thought. Like, my uncle, he was born with heart conditions. He had heart attacks. He had open heart surgeries. He actually had a heart transplant. I was like, I don't want that to be my future. Like, I don't want my heart to work at such a low capacity that I can't, maintain myself.
Yeah. 100%.
And I'm not saying that like fast food is going to give you a heart attack, but definitely don't feel good.
Yeah.
And that is a scary like wake up call to like have.
Yeah.
So to sit there and like for your like to consider it to myself to like have like hit like rock bottom, right? You're like, oh shit, like I remember how I used to be. It's not the person that I was. I'm eating fucking chicken tendies like 20 times a day. Yeah. Slight exaggeration. And then you like look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, fuck, I need to make some changes.
Yeah. Yeah, and the reason to get started anything is always different, right? Like, I know that we always talk a lot of fitness just because that's kind of one of our biggest interests and one of the biggest catalysts for the podcast. But getting started with anything, some of the realities may be that big, where it's like, hey, man, if you don't get your shit together, like, to get this promotion, like you're not going to be able to pay your bills, or you know, if you don't freaking start studying, like you're not going to get into that school, you know. And for some people that's a big deal, you know, like getting into these different goals. Sometimes we wait until like the end, right, where it's like, yeah, motherfucker, like you're either not going to pass, or you know, or you're about to have to take this other job that you don't want because you haven't prepared yourself for this other job, you know?
Yeah. And a lot of people wait till that 11th hour.
Yeah.
They're like, oh shit. And it's that I've been there too. It's like, oh shit, I'm at the very last minute of getting by with what I could possibly get by with.
For sure.
And hoping that I pass. Like for whatever it is. School, test, doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah. Hey, can I get real philosophizer on you real quick?
If you close your legs, I'm feeling really uncomfortable.
No, bro, I need.
There's humidity coming off of your sack right now.
What's that manliness, bro, coming
no,
off me?
Yeah, it's like not manliness. It just smells like, I don't know. It smells like
man must, bro.
It smells like fondue over there.
I think you're feeling my alpha aura.
I don't know. It feels like you just threw like blue taki mist at my way,
bro.
Alpha musk.
Anyways, you guys are assholes. Well, look. So I want to let you guys in on a little bit of a philosophy that I have, right? Mm-hmm. What I've noticed in life, right, is that we have a constant battle between idealism and realism, right? Now, idealism is how the world should be, right? Is what we all want, right? Is that utopia, right? Where nobody has to work, like we can do whatever we want. We'll all help each other, you know, which is great. I think everybody would want that, right? A world of no worries where we all take care of each other, right? And the world works as it should because we all follow the golden rule.
What's the golden rule?
Treat others as you want yourself to be treated.
Cool.
Right?
Had to make sure you remembered.
Yeah. So we all want the golden rule, right?
Yeah.
But the reality is that there's fucking assholes in the world, right? They're like, I don't want to fucking do this shit, right? And then they'll take advantage, right? Both of you guys.
First of all,
that's unknown.
You were saying?
Right? Fucking realism, right? Is the fact that there's going to be shitty people, right? And they'll always find an opportunity to get over on somebody, right? It's that fucking animalistic, right? Like animal instinct, right? It's like we're animals that have the best brain. Just like fucking tigers have the best fucking claws and teeth, and fucking dogs have the best sense of smell, and eagles have the fucking eyesight, right?
I'm glad you corrected that.
Yeah, we got fucking brains that are fucking crazy, but we forget that we're still just fucking animals, right?
Rephrase that.
You're a fucking animal, Scott. You filthy animal. No.
I'll be able to use that.
But
you're fucking animals.
but we're constantly battling between this idealism and this realism, right? In the world. And I think that's the macro. The micro is that we also do that within ourselves, right?
We do the same thing with comfort, yeah.
Yeah. Ideally, I want to do something. Ideally, it would go this way, and we plan for the ideal, right? And so now we're gonna move over to step 2 of getting started, right? So the step 1 was like the freaking motivation, right? The excitement, the stallness. That is that a word? The thing that stalls us, right? And getting over that. But now we're gonna go into planning, right? But in your planning, you got to realize that you're battling between realism and idealism, right?
Because ideally, you're going to reach your goal with like 0 complications. You're not going to stall. You're not going to fail. You're not going to have any kind of fear at all. You're going to go, boom, day 1, I am reaching my goal. Ideally, that is great. But realistically, that's not going to happen.
Hell no. Ideally, every bad habit that I had stops as of the day that I say I'm going to start, right? Let's say Monday, all this shit's going to stop, right? But realistically, you have built the habits that have gotten you to where you've gotten, right?
It's so hard to break a habit too.
Yeah.
And to develop new ones.
Yeah.
It's not, ideally, yes.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm going to do this day one. I'm going to be great. But it's not going to work out like that. Realistically, you have to break old habits. You have to spend they say it takes 30 days to form a new habit. So you have to form a brand new habit. You have to form a brand new way of thinking. That's kind of like what they do in the military, right? They want to break you down so they can build you back up as something different. But to do that, they have to break all your old habits. They have to break all of your pitfalls that you used to be so they could build you into what they want you to be.
And motherfuckers out here trying to change their whole fucking life, bro. They're trying to break 30 habits at once, you know? And so that's the name of the game, is how do we change habits? Now, what we know doesn't work are crashes, right? So when you're planning, don't plan to change your whole diet, your freaking activities throughout the day. You're going from a life of leisure to a life of all of a sudden being highly uncomfortable. And then in the case of exercise, you add a little bit of pain. In the case of things that require more mental fitness, you get frustration, right? Which is the brain's equivalent of pain, right? So you go and you change all these things, and then you wonder why you fail. Because when you started out, right, most of the time, unless you've been dealing with certain issues ever since you were young, it's the road to where you were started off with one bad habit, then another bad habit, that then snowballed into a whole bunch of bad habits, right? So the name of the game, as we start our plan, we understand that we're battling with idealism and realism, right? And we're going to change our whole life with habits. All right? So as you're coming out with your goals, right? Just remember to keep everything in perspective. All right? Now, whenever I was training to be a manager, right? They explained something called SMART goals to me, right? And SMART goals stand for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based, right? So when you're going to make a goal, right, you got to be specific, right? So what is the main goal, right? We're about to plan, right? I'm about to go in my plan. What do I want to change? You know what? I want to get my real estate license. I want to invest in cryptocurrency. I want to be a millionaire. I want to get that position at work. I want to be an Instagram model. You know, I want to be this. I want to be that, right? That's the end result, right? That's the goal.
Ideal.
Yeah, that's where we're trying to get to, right?
Yeah.
Ideally, 6 months.
Not happening.
Right? Not happening. So realistic, maybe
6 years.
3, 4, 5, 6 years. Yeah.
6 years is a more realistic goal of becoming more of an influencer, becoming a model, becoming a millionaire, if that's what you want to do over the internet.
Yeah.
6 months, unless you are just fucking S-classed, good-looking, smart, talented, whatever it is, 6 months not going to happen for you. And a lot of people, they see what happens on social media. They see the end result. They see the ideal. They don't want to work within reality. They're like, I don't want to do that. I just want to be as famous as that person day one. I'm good looking. I'm smart. I can work the system. I can use the hashtags in my favor.
Yeah.
It doesn't work out that way, unfortunately.
And I think what you're saying is that it's not impossible. It's the difference between now and yet. Right? Is when people say, I want to be that now.
Exactly.
Versus
that person did it. How are you gonna do it?
Yeah, you can't follow in someone else's footsteps exactly. Just because they did it their way doesn't mean that you're going to be able to. You have to find your own way, your own path to get to your end result. Yeah. And a lot of people, we've talked about it before. A lot of people want that blueprint laid out for them. What is the blueprint to success? Yeah. Oh, follow these 12 simple steps and you will be successful. Yeah. You can follow those steps. You can throw in some of your own or detract some of what those people did because it doesn't apply to you. Yeah. But it still doesn't mean that you're going to be successful or you're going to reach that end result on the timeline that they did.
Yeah. And most people like that are the ones that fall for those gurus, right? It's like, you want to be a you want to be an influencer? Fucking get my course. I'll break it down in freaking 12 weeks. You're going to get it. And next thing you know, you're like, yeah, that's what I want.
12 weeks,
and the fucking tips and tricks, motherfucker, the trick's on you, bro. It's like telling motherfuckers that you're going to get there real fast. That's a trick. And you're falling for it, you know? The only millionaire they're creating is themselves, right?
Yeah.
And so, like,
you fell for their trick. You clicked on their ad. You subscribed to their bullshit. You bought their book. You've set them up.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe.
And buy the product. We're going to come out in 12 weeks with a great product for you guys to buy.
Great 12-step program. 12 weeks to greatness.
Yeah.
You will achieve it or your money back. Not really.
We're going to accidentally lose all those return addresses. No, but
the crypto market just isn't what it used to be.
But bro, that's what happens, man, is that people buy these courses, and next thing you know, all the shit that you learn, you could have looked up.
Yeah.
That's it.
Anything and everything that you could learn in a course of bullshit, you could just spend going down like a YouTube rabbit hole.
Yeah. So now you're specific with your goal, right? Now, the thing is, that's the main overall goal, but some people only plan like that. Okay, I'm here now. I want to be here.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Your path shouldn't be as linear as that. Like, you're going to, like, deviate, and you're going to, like, do things your way to reach your goal as long as you're persistent with it, right? As long as you, like, maintain, like, that idea in your head of yourself, like, hey, that's where I'm going to be.
Yeah.
Like, that's me. I see it in my head. That motherfucker who looks great and is fit and has money and is an influencer and has all the Bitcoin in the world, that's me.
Yeah. Yeah, and so
now how am I going to get there?
Yeah, for sure. So that's just the being specific, right? Mm-hmm. The next thing is measurable, and the SMART. So S-M, SMART, right? M is the measurable part. Mm-hmm. So how you do that is you break up your overall goal into smaller goals, right? Yeah. And that's how you can measure, right? How you're going. It's like, okay, this is the inline and this is the along the way. Mm-hmm. This is where I am. But it actually goes like further into that, right? Measurable also means like if your goal is like losing weight, it's taking measurements. My weight is here, you know, now my weight is here. Even when it comes to using, you know, not the tape measure, but like the shit with the inches and shit, right? It's tape measure? Yeah. Okay. So using that shit, right? like you know, measuring yourself, seeing where the changes are coming from, right? What's growing, what's getting smaller, you know? Those are all measurable things. And another part of a measurable is like find the indicators, the work indicators, right? So, you know, let's say you're somebody who says, you know what, I'm not in the type of shape where I can go in and do all the workouts that I'm pulling up, right? I can't do that.
Right.
There's too much weight on me. Like, I'm just trying to get, you know, if I'm like 250 plus, you know, I'm just trying to lose out. So find work indicators, things that are showing you that you're doing work. Some of that may be just building up a sweat.
Yeah.
Right? Getting up and going for a walk, sweating a little bit and say, oh, okay, you know what? Like, this is an indicator that I'm putting in work, right? It's a tool that you can use to show that you're actually putting in the work that you have to put in.
That goes back to, you know, working towards small victories. Small victories at the very end are going to add up into like one large victory. So if you can't run because you're too big and you take a walk, like, that's fine. You're still putting in work.
Yeah.
You have time on your feet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're burning calories. You're building a sweat. You're doing better than you would have otherwise because your body is reacting to you actually putting in work.
Yeah.
So even if it is something small like that, it's fine.
Yeah.
That's a perfect starting place, like, to measure from there. Like, if you're so heavy, I've watched a lot of My 600-Pound Life. Makes me sad for those people, but feel good that I'm not there. Kind of fucked up. Don't judge me for it. But, like, I get so happy for those people who were like, hey, by the end of an episode, they're like, hey, like, I couldn't walk. I was bedridden, but now I can walk down to my mailbox and back. Yeah. That's a huge victory.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's actually the A part of SMART, is the attainability, of being attainable. Yeah. Right? You have to make goals that are attainable. And here's the thing. If you haven't been doing these things already, when you're doing your plan, don't change your whole lifestyle, right? Like, change small things, make them attainable, because remember all the loss of belief and faith that you had in yourself. You're not just going to go from all of a sudden saying, hey, I'm somebody who needs to make some type of change, be it physical, be it educational, professional, whatever. I need to make some type of change. Okay, now, like, let me build all this faith in myself and all this belief. So make your goals small, like you're saying, and make them attainable. And each victory is a little bit that you're going to put into your trust bucket.
Your little cookie jar?
Little trust jar, right? You know?
Yeah.
But you keep putting that trust, and you start believing in yourself, and you start having faith that you can get this goal, because the excitement is what says, hey, I'm going to do this, right? Like, have you ever started something out of pure excitement and you realize, I think I might have bit more than I could chew?
Truthful answer to this podcast.
Yeah.
Like, for real.
Yeah.
If I'm being completely honest, like, when we had conversations for a week that built up to us saying that, hey, we're going to do a podcast. The second we said, hey, we're going to do a podcast, I was like, fuck yeah. What are we going to talk about? Yeah. Like, I was so excited. And then we came up with the AMP theory. And I was like, fuck yeah. That's what we're going to talk about. And then I was like, well, what are we going to talk about when we get done with AMP? And then we started talking about getting started. And I was like, fuck yeah, that's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be like that, like, from now on, like, from the beginning to end. It's like, I was terrified. I was like, what are we going to do? Like, there was even a moment where I was like, are we going to do, like, one episode? And be like, hey, you know what? Like, nah. Yeah. It's not for us.
Yeah. Yeah. And that shit like that happens. But again, what's going to make, like, I think what has helped us is that we've made every step that we've taken, like, attainable. And we've been building momentum, and we continue to do this. So always remember to make your goals attainable. Don't change everything. Just do small things. The name of the game is habit. Start building these small, healthy habits that are going to later snowball into a healthy lifestyle, or a lifestyle of whatever it is that you're doing, real estate agent, you know, small changes that are eventually going to do that. Yeah. And then also make sure that everything you're doing is relevant. It has to be relevant to what you're doing, right? You're not going to say, like, hey, I'm going to get big, and then you're doing, like, a shitload of cardio and never lifting weights, you know, like you're not going to say,
I said I was going to get real big, but all I do is cardio. So now I'm like, I've lost 70 pounds.
Yeah.
That wasn't my goal. Like, I like it, but it's not my goal.
And another thing too is people that want to lose weight, but all they do is lift weight, and they don't understand that fat weighs more than muscle. No, wait, other way around. Muscle weighs more than fat, right? So it's like, you may be losing fat, but your weight isn't going anywhere, and you're building frustration because you didn't make your goal relevant to, I mean, you didn't do the things that you're doing aren't relevant to your goal.
Exactly.
You know?
It's like when I was talking about, like, I wanted to go lift weights after work, but what I did that wasn't relevant to my weightlifting goal for after work was I went and ran. I went and walked. I did yoga. I did whatever the fuck I was going to do. I didn't do what I set out to do. So while I felt okay with doing a workout, it wasn't relative to my overall goal. Yeah. You know, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't what I needed to do.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, so always ask yourself, like, hey, what I'm doing, is this shit gonna fucking make it, you know, to where I'm trying to get to? And the last part of the SMART is gonna be the time-based, right? Because you want to get shit done, right? And so if you're gonna say, I'm gonna lose so much weight, I'm gonna read so many chapters, I'm gonna do this, have a date for when you're gonna do it, because there needs to be that sense of urgency. There needs to be like, hey, I'm gonna do this by this time, and you have to hold yourself accountable. You know, you have to tell yourself, this is what's gonna happen. And it doesn't mean that if you don't get it done, then all of a sudden you're like, no. Then you try again. You're building the habits.
Right.
If you fail the first time, you do it again. And it doesn't mean that because you're successful, hey, maybe you've done a good job of making your goals attainable, right? Then all of a sudden you don't hit once. It doesn't mean that everything you've done has gone to shit either. It just means, okay. Like
redo.
Yeah, it's just a redo. You're going to learn to like continue to do these things. Yeah. But they do have to be, there does have to be a time, because again, we're working towards this overall goal, right? And there might have to be some adjustments once you realize, hey, like, you know, my habits are taking a lot longer for them to cement. Like, then that goal is going to be a lot further away. You're like, okay, well, I'm not going to be there in a year. Let's do a year and a half, you know? So everything is malleable. You can change it. But
because true change is going to come from you actually sticking to it. It's not going to come from you half-assing it. You don't want to set a goal and then like be like, hey, I'm not quite there yet, but you know, I'm still going to like maintain like my trajectory now and see if I can reach it in a year. And then when you don't reach your goal, you're like, maybe I should have, you know, redone a couple of the things that I said I was going to do instead of trying to work around them.
Yeah. And so what that looked like for me was when it came to my diet, I didn't change everything. I just stopped drinking Cokes.
Right.
That's all I did. I did that for a month, and I still ate everything the way that I wanted to eat, right? Then it became breakfast. Lunch and dinner were the same. I didn't even stop eating pastries. Remember pastries?
Zebra cakes.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I saw those today in the grocery store. I was like, oh my God. Walk right past it.
Yeah, good.
Don't know
Good
I
job.
put myself through that pain.
Hey, I'm proud of you, bro. But you know, I didn't quit any of that, right? It was just no Cokes, healthy ass breakfast, the rest of my life the way it was.
Sure.
But what that's evolved to is that now, like, I'm eating healthy pretty much all day long. And if I do have a hiccup here and there, it's kind of rare, you know? Now, that diet was completely different from my workout goals, right?
Sure.
I started off with 1 mile, just 1 mile every day, 1 mile, 1 mile, 1 mile, 1 mile. And then I did 2 miles. You know, after about a month of running 1 mile, I did about a month of running 2 miles. And then after 2 miles, 3 miles. Now, 3 miles, I stayed on that a lot longer, right? But then 3 miles became 4, you know, and then so on and so forth. But this is within a year, right? To where now 2 years later, I'm doing mostly what I want to do than not. And I've been able to detox myself from all these unhealthy habits. I created these habits not all at once, but I've changed my life, you know, so that now if I do go out and eat a hamburger or do all that stuff, I feel no guilt. And it's not enough to where I'm going back to bad behaviors,
right? Because
I'm doing more good behaviors than bad, that now I can enjoy myself. I can eat a pizza and two. And the thing is, people that aren't there yet, that are bravely starting, can say, a piece of pizza? Motherfucker, if I see a whole pizza pie, like, I want the whole thing. But because along my journey, right, before I stopped eating pizza, like, pretty consistently once to twice a week, right, before I got to that level, I went to just paying attention. Like, okay, every time I do eat pizza, I'm almost eating the whole goddamn thing by myself, right? So it's like, you know what? I'll still eat pizza. I just won't eat as much.
Yeah.
Right? And so now it's gotten to the point where it's like, if I buy pizza for the kids, right? Like, I'll still eat my healthy meal, you know? And it's been so long since, like, there's sometimes I say no, right? It's like, I don't need it. Because I've taken that away from me. Like, I went portions to where now I can say no and it doesn't hurt. It's not that bad. Sometimes I still eat a pizza and there's no guilt there because I usually do what I should do.
It's because of all the work that you've actually put in on yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I don't, like, if I've had like a hard week, you gotta treat yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I've had like hard weeks, hard months, hard years where I've like put in so much work where I feel like a cheat meal here and there is not bad. And my cheat meals that I have had, I'm like, oh, fried chicken with gravy, mashed potatoes, fixings, every fucking thing.
Yeah.
I don't feel any kind of guilt after that.
Yeah.
I'm like, cool. Tomorrow I'll get back on the grind. Mm-hmm. All this will have been burnt off at some point, and I'll just be right back to where I was. But I at least allowed myself to have like that meal, released all the chemicals in my head, made myself happy, and didn't drive myself crazy from continuously eating clean. Yeah. Like, I remember we talked about fitness, and we talked about how cheat meals were like good. Yeah. It's like your body gets so used to eating clean that it sometimes forgets how to like break down like complicated foods. Mm-hmm. So allowing yourself to eat like those like greases and those fats and the complicated food that you get from Whataburger, we'll say, you know, you've allowed for like a meal to set in there, just so you know how to like handle it. Yeah, for sure. And you know, getting down to the third part, right? So now you're building. Okay, so you got the excitement. It gave you the idea, right? Now you think oh shit. Right? Like, can I do this? Can I do that? You know, you're looking into it. You're dealing with your fear, right? Cool. Then you go into planning.
what it is that you're going to do, right? Through your SMART goals and being realistic, but having still enough idealistic thoughts to where you're like, this is where I want to get to, right?
You do need to have that touch of like ideal. You do need to have the dream.
You need to have the dream.
That goal, like off in the sunset, you're like, that's what I got to reach.
Yeah. So now you're making your plan, right? And you're making timelines. You're saying, okay, by this time I want to do this. By this time I want to do that. But I'm not going to crash, right? So I'm going to do this change first, and then this change. And once I build that habit for a month, then I'll add another little change. Then I'll do that, right? So you're building your plans, and you do it ahead of time. That way you know exactly what you got to do and what you got to take care of, right?
That's how you're starting your lifestyle.
Yeah.
Like your lifestyle change.
Yeah. So a lot of people think that starting is just that first start, right? Mm-hmm. But how we were discussing earlier, that's not the start. You're not a bodybuilder the first week you started lifting weights, or the first month you started lifting weights, or the first 6 months you've been lifting weights, right? You're a bodybuilder when what you do is bodybuilding.
Right.
Right? When it's become your lifestyle.
You're going to be a noob for a long time.
Exactly.
And that is a start.
Yeah.
Like, Jonathan, you play Fortnite. You have developed skills that a lot of people don't have. But it took a long time to get there.
It's 2021, and I've been playing it since it came out in March of 2018. So
yeah, exactly.
And
like
when I started, I was like, "Oh my god, what the fuck is going on?" But now I'm like,
yeah,
exactly. Like it's the same thing with anything else that you do in life.
Yeah. So understand that the time of beginning, it's not when you like the first month. That's not the beginning. No. I would say, and I think you would probably agree, that your first year is the start.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you've gone through wins and fails and losses and getting yourself back up and dusting yourself off and doing it again and seeing what works for you. Because the start is not the plan. The start is figuring out you. Right? It's like figuring out what the right plan is, right? Hey, maybe for me, crashing doesn't make sense. Hey, maybe for me, maybe I shouldn't have gone through Cokes. Maybe I would have done easier doing breakfast first, because I love Cokes, like finding out what it is for you and fucking around with it. And that's probably not going to be till the end of the first year that you've at least gotten to a place where you understand yourself.
Yeah, because it will take that amount of time because you don't understand how your body is going to react to putting in like hard work, eating clean, or having like those specific cheat days. You don't know exactly what is going to happen because everybody is different. Your body is different than my body. My body is different from Jonathan's body, and it just goes on. What works for you might not work for me.
Yeah.
And what works for me, I have to figure out. And so over a period of time, not just like within like a small window, it's had to be over a long period of time. I figured out what works for me. And so like when I do have conversations with people, they're like, what did you do? I'm like, I did this, but you're a completely different person than I am. So what I did might not be the blueprint that you want.
Yeah.
This is my lifestyle that I started. You need to like figure out what you need to do for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And understand that like, whatever it is you decide to do, whatever it is that you're trying to reach is a lifestyle change, right? That means the rest of your fucking life, right? So don't try to change your life right then and there, and expect that that's going to be something consistent for a long time. You're constantly, as long as one day, at least every day that you're moving towards your goal, that's what you got to do. Just check it off. Yeah. So just remember it's that. And I know that you had mentioned earlier, like the results, seeing those results, right, is what's going to help motivate you to continue doing what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And so,
like even as a beginner, you will see results.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes back to like a pitfall. Like sometimes for some people in the very beginning, when your body is not used to putting in work like that, you do see results so quick and like so fast and you're so happy. Like if you want to get bigger, you see a pump and you get like little baby gains, or like when you're like losing weight, you lose a lot of weight up front because your body is just so not used to it. But then the more like your body gets used to like putting in work, lifting those weights or losing like weight, doing anything that you want to do, like you're going to plateau a little bit. Don't be don't be alarmed. Like, it happens to everybody. You just have to like reassess, do some muscle confusion, and like just get back at it.
Yeah.
And then
you're on your journey.
You're off to the races again.
Yeah.
To the moon.
To the moon. Yeah. Man, yeah, guys. Yeah. And that's basically what it is, you know. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, we want to encourage people to start leaving questions in the comments.
Yeah.
So that we kind of can address those things. And kind of, again, if we don't have the answers, we'll find the answers for you. And
we won't make them up.
Yeah, we won't make them up. And also we can then kind of let you guys know what we've done in our personal journeys to help overcome some of those questions or that you guys have gone through. But in keeping up with tradition of inspirational people, I do want to bring up Chen Zhao, right? This guy lost his legs when he was 13, right? And then not too long after that, he started singing like as a street performer, you know? Okay. And he actually got pretty successful with that. But he also is a climber. He climbs mountains and, you know, he does it all on his arms. He's climbed, I think, 5 of China's highest mountains. And then also he went up the stairs of Mount Tai, which is about 7,200 steps. And he built basically these little wooden box things that he can hold onto while he climbs. Wow. So, I mean, you know.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So after his accident, he was so young when the accident happened, but I mean, it didn't stop him from accomplishing great things, you know? And he still performs. He's gone to, I think it was like 700 cities and 3,000 street corners that he still performs, you know, besides being a badass climber. He still performs, you know? So, you know, if this guy can do it after a tragic accident, you know, if you have everything that you were born with, you have, you know, less of an excuse, right? You know, just like everybody that we kind of mentioned, they're all people that were given things or situations that most people would stop. Yeah. You know, but they've been able to find those things and to actually help propel them to better heights in their life, you know? So just remember that, you know, appreciate the fact that you still have life and that, you know, if you haven't gone through these type of things, you know, just know that you can do it. It's all in the mind. I mean, I think this shows that it is mind over matter, right? Like, you know,
appreciate everything that you have, your strengths, understand what your weaknesses are, and, you know, you can do anything.
Yeah.
The more you understand your weaknesses,
the easier
it'll be to conquer them as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like sometimes, you know, my weakness is how great I am at everything. Sometimes it's so hard for me just to be so amazing. But
you're so humble.
I mean, hashtag humble.
I figured out what the smell
hashtag
was.
humble brag.
I figured out what the smell was that was coming from over there. It's
my
bullshit.
Excellence. Oh, okay, that's what it was. On that note, guys, I think we finished
episode 5.
Episode 5. Again, thank you guys for tuning in.
Absolutely.
We really appreciate it. You know,
we're on all social media: Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok.
Not on Snapchat.
We are on Snapchat.
Maybe you can.
I created one on Snapchat.
We're not on Snapchat, but
late night videos are on Snapchat.
But we are thinking of coming out with a OnlyFans.
Yeah, but we're only like putting up feet pictures.
Yeah.
So that's gonna
feet and weenus pictures.
Yeah. Like, do you think that they want it like moisturized, or they like it dry better?
A little bit. We could do a little ashy, a little classy, you know.
Anyways, hope you like the video. Like it, subscribe. We've got more content coming out, and we'll see you in the next one.